because they
Right.
assume that they need to compare their features to their competitors' features. And often, if their competitors are in that same trap, it's a tremendous opportunity because if they can shift to a bonus focus, it immediately sets them head and shoulders above. And often they won't have real benefits. You know, it's the same thing. It's shinier. It's a deeper, richer blue. It doesn't weigh as much. It's cheaper, but it doesn't really have any defined benefits. So if we can get them to focus upon that, that usually is a big short-term burst. So identifying the readers, identifying the benefits, and then creating more benefits. And often, as both Melissa and Jennifer said, you know, you need to focus in your copy. You need to focus on providing value. So, you know, you may have the finest product or service available out there, but if you can't convey that in a manner that the majority of your readers are going to latch on to and really identify with, then you're falling short. So you've got to find a way to get that across to them without it being a heavy bit of content, you know, that's just loaded down with dimensions and specifications, or too pushy, you know, just sell, sell, sell. That turns people off just as quickly. So
Right.
you know, finding that method of getting the message across to them in a way that builds the authority, and I'll jump off on one of my pet peeves for some time now is, you know, I think that, you know, links are never going to go away on the internet, and value obviously has to be added, and Google's been harping on it for a long time. They shouldn't have had to. We should have known that years ago. But I think that authority is going to become much more important to us all than links and votes and shares. You know, we've got to establish ourselves as an authority on a subject, and the trust and authority go hand in hand. If you know what you're talking about, and you're consistently providing good, solid information and backing up your claims, you're going to build trust and authority. And that's not going to be done overnight. The beauty of it is, unlike links, it can't be gamed. You know, you can be given authority, but you cannot buy it. You cannot take it.
Which brings me to, since you've tapped into Google Big Brother, if you will. Everyone here is involved in the SEO world, and we all listen and watch Google and Matt Cutts and Search Engine Journal and Search Engine Land and so on and so forth. But for the readers and the people that are listening and want to learn, the latest buzz has been that guest blogging, you know, one of the, I think, cornerstone of content marketing, you know, in order to get your name out there, in order to get new readers, in order to get, you know, some PR, positive PR, has become one of these things where it's like, whoops, okay, if you're going to guest blog, make sure it's no follow, make sure you do it every other Thursday, make sure that, you know, you don't put an author tag, but you put a real author tag, or you put a ma che cazzo della Madonna. So, of course, you know, as a blogger or as a writer, you're thinking, well, what's the right way? What's the wrong way? Where's all this buzz going, and how much of it do you believe? Jennifer, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So we're always, I think, juggling at least well, we're juggling a million balls, but specifically related to this, we're juggling sort of two different balls and looking for balance. And so one is putting the content out there, doing what's best for the reader, doing what's best for us as well, which is, you know, goes hand in hand with getting info out there to the reader. And then there's satisfying the search engines and doing things technically right. I'm not saying I don't care about the search engines. Obviously, I do. That's my business. But I tend to err on the side of doing what's best for getting information into people's hands and what's best for me. And I don't believe that there is any problem at all with guest blogging. I don't buy into all of these various regulations, every other Thursday and no follow and
Right,
stuff.
right.
I think that if stuff is occurring naturally and quality content is being produced and shared, there's no problem. If you want to have a guest blog 5 days a week, that's great. It introduces new perspective. It introduces new information. It's great for your audience. And ultimately, managing my own blog or managing my client's blog, my first concern is making sure that I'm serving the audience, and then figuring out how to fit the search engines being satisfied into that. That's just my approach.
Okay.
Yeah, and over the years we've all seen Google change their minds about things. So, link sculpting, do this, do that. There's no way I'm going to no follow someone who's guest blogging for me. It's not going to happen. It's not right. However, whether it's for Moz or Authority Labs or when I was at SEJ, if it's not quality content, it's not getting published.
Right.
Bottom line.
Right.
So the other thing to keep in mind is, and I've seen a lot of this in the last 18 months, we have a lot of people out of the United States who are trying to blog for links and links only, and it's obvious. So if you want Google to consider you an authority, you need to focus on specific things. Now, I can blog all day long write about SEO and content marketing, and if I wanted to throw another topic like tigers in there, I probably could. But if I started blogging about cooking, which I can't do, and cleaning carpet and sewing, Google would start to think, well, she's not really an authority in anything. You know what I mean? So you need to be focused on what you're an authority on if you want Google to believe you are an authority on something. The other thing that I would say for guest bloggers is your opinion doesn't matter. People don't care about your opinion specifically unless you're going to include some actionable content and information and tips that they can take and put into play when they're done reading your article. I think the biggest problem that I see in a lot of people that I decline their articles is they think they're the first one to figure out that, using an H1 tag might be a good idea. Well, that's an opinion of yours that you just discovered. What I have found...
Here's a cookie, now go back to your little corner.
What I have found is that people that read the big blogs want to learn something. The reason we all love the big blogs back in the day is because we could take that information and put it into place and work with it. So if you're going to guest blog, you need to provide and educate, number one. And if you want Google to think that you're serious, you need to have a niche that you discuss. That's my opinion. You can always kind of do something here or there, but as soon as people email me and say, well, I write about education and cooking and painting houses and SEO, I'm like, no. Sorry, you're not for me. Yeah. So guest blogging is here to stay, but quality guest blogging is how things are going in the future. So,
Don,
yeah.
you want to pitch in your 2 cents or 3 cents?
I think they pretty well covered my opinions as well. I just, you have to be very selective. Guest blogging is not dead.
Okay, well, good, because I do have another topic, and again, it deals with Google. As a matter of fact, I think it was Melissa who wrote a post about it, and it was, let me see if I have the title. Oh yeah, Google answers questions about how query syntax has changed since voice search. Mm-hmm. I love that because we were discussing that, as a matter of fact. I don't know if Doc, if you were in the room, I think either SEO Pros or Dojo, I don't recall. And I kept, harping and beating the drum and saying, hey, people, let's pay attention because voice is completely different than syntax. It's a different beast because of the way people not just speak, in different areas of the world, but the different words that they use for various products. Cultural. I hate using that, but it's true. It has a play into language. But yeah, and so Melissa, if you want to just take us a little bit on why you went there with that, because I thought Wow, that's another way to content domination, voice.
Yeah, everybody is going to have to do some optimization modification, in my opinion, to for their websites, their content, how people speak and how they type. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. But you need to start optimizing for how people are going to be speaking into their phones. That's just the way of the future. I mean,
Right.
honestly, I don't even know how to write with my hand anymore. I am a whore. I have the worst handwriting because all I do is type. Well, now it's all going to change. We're just going to talk into mobile devices. So the other thing that I also want to make a point is that SMX Advanced, Matt Cutts made a point to say that if your site is not mobile friendly, it will not rank above sites that are. Okay?
Huh.
So on top of modifying your SEO for voice search, you also have to make sure that website is working on mobile devices and tablets, because it's not that Google thinks that you don't deserve to rank, but the sites that do work well for those devices will rank above yours. So you now have to compete on multiple fronts. You know, it's all changing. It all changes all the time anyway. But yeah, specifically I would say make sure your sites are working on mobile and make sure you're optimizing and creating new content that has conversational tone for voice search.
And if I could jump in on that is really great info, Melissa. That was one of the things that I have always tried to advocate to clients. And this question has actually come up when people talk about B2B versus B2C. And I have said, I don't care who you're marketing to, B2B, B2C, it's all people. You're one person marketing to another person, and you should always be talking to them, not talking at them, not talking down to them, but conversing with them, sharing information in a way that they can absorb it, use it, benefit from it. And so that should be something that people are fundamentally doing anyway. And this is just another reason that is really important that they do that. So if that's not something any people out there are doing already, you might want to take a step back and look at how you approach your content. You can be, if it's very important that you be sort of corporate or professional, businessy, that's fine. You can be conversational and corporate, professional, businessy, or you can tone it down. You can be a little bit more casual. Conversational works in all of those different contexts. One tip I learned a long time ago, little shout out to Heather Lloyd Martin, was read your content out loud. We process language differently when we read it out loud and hear our own voice versus just reading in our own head. If you read it out loud, you're going to catch if your keyword stuffing, which hopefully nobody's even coming close to doing that these days, but if you are, you'll catch it. You're going to catch if you sound formal, stilted, if the content doesn't flow. So take a minute and just walk around your office and print it out, walk around your office and read it out loud. Listen to your own voice and see what your content sounds like. It's really a great little tip.
Yeah, and one other thing. Yeah, one other suggestion I would make is when you're creating headlines for your content, make them questions. How do I? What is? What are? That's how people are searching. Look in your analytics. Sometimes you'll be shocked at the things people are searching for and asking. But I did a little experiment in like 2009 to 2011, and I had 10 what is, what are questions on my blog. That's it. It's just what is a title tag? What is an alt tag / attribute? And I was getting like 1,200 hits a month because people were searching for that exact phrase. When you look at mobile searches, a lot of them are questions. So if you have clients asking you questions, common questions all the time, and you write up an explanation of that on your blog, use that question as your title, because that's how a lot of people are going to search by hand and verbally.